There appear to be disagreements between Khoisan groups regarding the construction of Amazon's Africa headquarters in Cape Town. It seems one group is supporting developers, while another is against the controversial 4.5 billion rand River Club development. Meanwhile, a contempt of court case against the company's directors was postponed yet again on Wednesday afternoon in the Western Cape High Court. Well, let's discuss this situation with Tariq Jenkins, the leader of the Khoisan Council. Mr. Jenkins, good afternoon. Welcome to ENCA. Thank you very much for your time. So on which side are you? Are you supportive or not?
Good afternoon and thank you. We have been, for the last 4 years, very clear in terms of our opposition to the River Club Amazon development. We launched litigation against the development for an interdict as well as a review on the 2nd of August 2021, and we are still pursuing this route. We look forward to having the contempt of court matter heard next week, Tuesday.
But I understand there is another group that is supporting the developers in the community, in your community. Why is the division? When this whole process began, we were made aware of the whole thing. It seemed like there's a unity amongst your community.
I think what we've seen over time are the sort of colonial mechanisms and deployment of tactics that would divide and conquer indigenous communities. This is not something that is alien to us in terms of our history, and it's certainly something that is beginning to manifest to some degree in as far as how this matter is concerned. I think what's also important is to tackle the disinformation as well as the very strategic and calculated forms of spreading information in ways that would want to give the impression that the majority of the San and Khoi are in fact in favor of this development, and that is not the case.
So the majority of the people are not in favor. You're going to pursue the legal challenge. Where is that legal challenge at now, and how confident are you of victory?
Well, at this stage, we were granted an interim interdict by Deputy Judge President Goliath, who completely agreed with our arguments that the economic factor does not outweigh the will and principles and meaningful consultation and engagement with First Nations communities. Up until this point, that judgment was challenged by the developer, and it was dismissed with costs. And so we are now at a point where the developer has decided upon themselves to continue a reconstruction of the site in defiance and violation of the court order, which is why we have now filed against them a contempt of court case, which we will hear on Tuesday. We are very confident that the rule of law will succeed and that restorative justice will flow.
Why are you opposed to this?
We are opposed to this because it holds a threat to some of the most important tangible and intangible heritage resources for the San and Khoi. It also is it is an epicenter of liberation and resistance in our country, and forms a part of a very important historical rubric that speaks to the collective memory and consciousnesses of who we are as Africans. It is also on a sensitive floodplain. It is at the confluence of two important rivers. And what we also are against is the fact that the city of Cape Town, as well as Western Cape government, violated their own policies in terms of the environmental destruction that this particular development has caused and is still causing.
So it's about heritage, protecting that legacy. It's about making sure the environment is also protected. How do you balance that? Is there a possibility to balance that with economic benefits? I mean, job creation and stuff like that.
I think what's important to understand is that traditional communities have a symbiotic relationship with the environment and with heritage. They move hand in hand with each other. Amazon was given 5 options to build this development. And so if they had taken any of the other 5 options, this development most likely would have been built by now without much controversy. I think what we are saying is that we question the hubristic arrogance of insisting on wanting to build on this particular place when it is currently undergoing a grading process by the South African Heritage Resources Agency. President Cyril Ramaphosa himself, with his cabinet in June 2020, earmarked and stamped this place as part of the National Khoisan Liberation and Resistance Route, which is also slated to UNESCO for a World Heritage Site.
So how do you respond then? How do you deal with people who say, oh, this is going to affect the economic activity of the area badly, it's an investment that is needed, and Amazon are going to walk away?
I think this is a red herring. It's a dangerous trope which has got absolutely no substance that underpins it. First of all, the developer took it upon himself at great risk to start construction on the site, knowing for years that we've been contesting it and that there was an extraordinary likelihood that it would be interdicted. Also, this notion that the descendants of the San and Khoi will find dignity in digging up an ancient terrain of their ancestors, I think, is something that needs to be, quickly sort of done away with. And the other thing is that who's really going to benefit? We're talking about jobs of wheelbarrowing concrete back and forth for 3 to 6 months at the scale whereby a lot of the workers are not part of unions, etc., in terms of the demands and so on, and where and who are going to be the beneficiaries of this kind of large build of 150,000 square meters of concrete bulk on a floodplain, an Amazon headquarters, a hotel, and a gym, is certainly not for the benefit of the majority of the people in this country, and absolutely in no ways can it be seen as a justification or even a memorialization of some of the deepest and most important sacred heritage components for the San and Khoi.
So just to finalize our discussion very quickly in less than a minute, so you're not opposed to Amazon having a headquarters in South Africa. They've got other options, but not on this land. There, you are insistent on that, and you'll continue to oppose and resist it.
Absolutely correct. This is a heritage that is not for sale. There are some things that will remain sacred in our lives as Africans, and this is that. The sacred Lisbeth River is confluencing with the Black River. This is a place where land was stolen for the very first time in 1657 by the Dutch East India Company through the deployment of title deeds in 1657. It is where the Khoi-Dutch War broke out in 1659. And that precipitated over a 200-year period of wars of liberation and resistance, which include genocide, the ethnocide of people, massacre, and forced removals, all of which needs to be recognized. And so we're talking about an epicenter of restitution, of reparations, and for a Truth and Reconciliation Commission for the San and Khoi to be held concurrent along with the UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Thank you very much, Tariq Jenkins, for your time this afternoon. He's, of course, the leader of the Goring Aikona Kwena Council of the Khoisan people in Cape Town. Now